What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the Fusion 360 tutorial series. This is day 7 of learning Fusion 360 in 7 days. This tutorial series is for complete beginners with Fusion 360 in order to learn the ropes from sketching our first component to assembling geometries by day 7. And I'll have you note, we finished that by day 5. Today, we'll be taking a look at the basics of creating drawings, as well as saving and exporting our models to get it ready for 3D printing. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete workflow from design to production, giving you everything you need to start using Fusion 360 professionally. Let's get into it. Technical drawings are essential in engineering and manufacturing, providing clear specifications for production. Let's see how we can generate one directly from our Fusion 360 model. Like we did in the previous video, we will have to switch Fusion's environment to the drawing environment. So we will go to the environment switcher and find the drawing environment and choose from design. Before it switches, you'll be prompted with this window, which is just asking you the inputs you want for the drawing, such as the standard, units, and sheet size. Once you are happy with the page setup, press on OK, and the environment will switch to the drawing environment, which looks like this. The very first thing that you'll be asked to do when you switch to the drawing environment is to place the base view. This is the view that all the other views will be derived from. So click on the screen to place it on the drawing, and then we can modify it to our liking with the menu on the right here. The first thing that we can do is change the orientation of the base view by using the drop-down menu here. This is an instance where you may realize that it is good to sketch on the ZX plane and extrude in the Y direction, since the ZX plane represents the bottom and top of the environment, which, if we change it to the bottom orientation, we are in fact aligned with the bottom of our model. We can also adjust the style of the drawing, which will only be apparent when we actually save the changes, but in overview, we can change the drawing to only be made up of solid lines, or solid and hidden lines, or to have some sort of shade. And finally, we can also change the scale to scale our model so that it fits the page correctly. This can either be accomplished by typing in the field or by pressing the three-dot menu off to the side for the most common types of scales. Tangent edges refers to how the drawing will handle transitions between flat and curved surfaces. So you can indicate to show this as a smooth transition or to have a line indicating the transition areas, which is typically better as it shows that in the 2D drawing there is some sort of difference in depth. Interference edges, on the other hand, when toggle on, shows edges where there is overlapping or intersecting geometries, which can be useful for complex assemblies where parts overlap, or when toggled off, it will only show the outermost edges in our drawing. And thread edges, when toggled, will display thread details, but normally this can be shown using callouts. And finally, we also have the option for Fusion to automatically place center marks and center lines in holes, and you toggle this feature on by pressing on the icon for which feature you want the program to do that for. When satisfied with your choices, make sure to press on OK, and Fusion will create the 2D drawing base view from our CAD assembly. Now with our base or parent view in place, it is time to add projected views off of it by pressing on the second icon in the Create section of the toolbar. Next, we will need to select the parent view and then simply drag off to the side to get the projected view. And depending on which side of the parent view I move the projected view to, it will show me the new side of the object. Therefore, if I go underneath, it will show me the bottom view, or if I go to the left side, it will show me the left view, or if I go diagonally from the parent view, it will return an isometric view. To place the view down on the page, just simply click, and then move the mouse to place down another view. Once satisfied with the projected views, just press Escape on the keyboard and exit the command. And in case you're wondering, yes, you can project views from projected views. Simply grab the projected view command again, choose the new parent view as the projected view, and then place your new projected view like before. It's that easy. Another very useful tool is the ability to create detailed views. These are the views that allow for magnification of smaller areas that may be hard to see given the current scale of the rest of the assembly. To add a detail view, you're going to press on the fifth icon in the Create section of the toolbar, which has a bit of a circular shape to it. Like we did for the projected views, we will first select the parent view, which this new view will be based off of. And like we did for sketching circles in the past, we are going to sketch a circle around where we want to magnify the detail. So first we're going to choose the center of where we want the detailed view to be, and then we'll drag the circle shape outwards. Once we're happy with the size of the detailed view, click again to place it. And upon placing it, your cursor will turn into the view you create, and you can simply place this on the canvas anywhere you want by clicking again. Like for the projected views, you'll have the drawing view menu again, where you can specify the scale, the style, as well as the lines that you want to have visible in the drawing. Once happy with all of your choices, don't forget to press on OK. And there you have it. That's how easy it is to create a detailed view, and any other views for that matter. In fact, if we press on the drop-down menu of the Create section of our toolbar, we can see all the different views that we can create, such as auxiliary views, section views, and breakout views. So I strongly encourage you guys to practice getting familiar with creating and placing views that is necessary for your projects. Adding dimensions to our drawings is just as easy as adding dimensions in sketches. Let's go to the Dimension section of the toolbar and press on the first icon, the dimensioning icon. And just like we did before, we're going to select 2 points or lines that we want to dimension in between, and then drag the dimension to the side of the drawing and place it. It's really that easy. And if we need to modify how the dimension displays information, simply double-click on the dimension to open up the dimension editing window. Here we can easily add drawing symbols, representation of whether it's a reference or true dimension, as well as a second dimension which gives us alternative units or even tolerances. We can also easily add center marks and center lines to our drawings by going to the geometry section of the toolbar and taking the center mark command and simply press on the hole that you want the program to add a center mark to. And if ever you need a symbol for datums, welds, or surface finish, that can all be found in the symbol section of the toolbar located over here. I'll let you guys explore these commands as needed. We can also easily add bills of materials to our drawings. These are crucial in production as it breaks down the assembly into tangible lists, making it easier to manage inventory and cost. To add those, simply head to the table section of the toolbar and grab the automatic bill of material command. When you move your cursor onto the page, you'll see that there is a table following it around. Simply click where you want to place the bill of materials, and it will be automatically generated with the parts in our assembly, as well as placing the callouts on the assembly itself. And just a side note, the properties that this table collects, such as part number or the weight, for example, is based on the properties of the documents of the parts themselves. So make sure that you label your parts correctly so that they show up nicely in the bill of material later on. And finally, before you go off and print the drawing, make sure that you double-click the title block to update all the information that you need to represent your technical drawing. Double-click on the field where you want to edit it and modify by entering its values, and hit enter on the keyboard to confirm the modification to the text box. Once you've modified all the text box that you need, don't forget to press on Finish Properties to confirm all the choices. There are really so many ways that you can customize and modify your drawing depending on what you need to show. So I strongly encourage you guys to get familiar with the Fusion 360 drawing toolbar to understand the versatility of what's possible. And last but not least, getting your files exported to the correct format so that they can easily be opened in your splicing software and get ready for 3D printing is super easy. Just open up the file that you want to download. So in this case, I'm going to download the base of our lamp. Go to File, denoted by the page icon, and press on Export. Make sure that you choose the STL file format, and then just hit Export. And that is it. So now you're ready to bring your creations to life with 3D printing or any other manufacturing technique of your choice. So that will be it for day 7 of learning Fusion 360 in 7 days. A bit of a shorter video compared to the rest of the series, but today we learned the basics of creating technical drawings in Fusion 360, placing views, annotating and dimensioning, as well as creating bills of materials and getting our files ready for 3D print. Now you should have all the required know-how and tools to start your design adventure in Fusion 360. I really hope this series was helpful. It took quite a bit of time to make compared to my other videos, so don't forget to like the video if you thought it was helpful and subscribe for more engineering content.